in this lesson, we'll adjust the posed sculpt. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to move or rotate the character's eyes. And so after posing, if I select the eye, for instance, I'll select the left eye and try to rotate, it's going to rotate from a different axis. It's not in the center of the eye, so it's not really letting me rotate this. I can come in and try centering the pivot. That's kind of where the eye was before. So what I can do is select the eyes, and I'm going to select both of these eyes. And I want to just go down to the lowest level, and I'm going to delete the higher level. And I'm going to send these over to Maya. So I'll send selected as new scene. I don't want to save. So here in Maya, we can see our two eyes. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and freeze the transformations, and let's center the pivots. Okay. Now let's grab these and send them back. So I'll send back to Mudbox, and let's update the current scene. All right. So now let's grab our eye, and I want him to have this sort of suspicious look. And so I want him to be kind of looking off to his left, kind of protecting his treasure that he's found. And so I'll kind of rotate this eye. Now, thinking ahead of time, when we're painting the eye texture, if we knew where we want him to look, we could have just painted it that way if we wanted to. Let's get that eye back down there. So kind of looking over in that direction. Let's do the same thing on the other eye when I'm kind of looking the same way. Okay, let me come down here. Kind of get a little bit better angle on it. Okay, and just kind of make them looking in generally the same direction. And so maybe something like that. Okay. Now what I want to do is kind of adjust his expression. So let's go to Sculpt, and we'll get Grab. And I want him to have kind of one eye sort of a little bit more open, and one eye kind of squinted shut a little bit more. Whoa. Hold on. Sorry about that. I hope you didn't get dizzy. So we'll get kind of a bigger brush size, and we can grab this, and if we wanted to kind of go down to a lower level, let me grab this guy here, kind of go down to a lower level, might be a little bit easier. So we can really create kind of a squint here, where he's very sort of suspicious of what's going on. And then over here, he's kind of a little bit more wild. So I kind of grab this, and because this is sort of posed up for an image, we can really kind of stretch this around. So I can come in and grab the eyelid and move it up. Really open that up. Come in here and open this up down here as well. You could use freeze at this point if you wanted to kind of open the eye up. So I really want to get that piece right down in there. So kind of really open up this side. And then we get kind of a larger size and bring that whole brow shape up a little bit. Maybe this ear's peaked a little bit more too. Kind of make his nose a little bit wonky. We can start to take his mouth and kind of shape that a little bit. So bringing this up, maybe bringing the center of the brow down a little bit. Same thing here. So he's really sort of suspicious of anyone trying to get to his coin here. All right, you can also fix things that happened during posing. So some of these areas we won't really see very much, but you can come in and fix things like the shoulder, the elbow, where you can see where this arm is sort of deformed here a little bit. And so we can come in and tweak the shape of that. I'm going to bring the back of his arm out a little bit more. Okay, and if you wanted to kind of pull that elbow out to just make sure that we've got the sharpness of the elbow drawn out there, kind of smooth that back in. Okay, any areas that you have that are penetrating, you can try to come in and modify those. So we could bring this claw up a little bit, but maybe bring the hand down and shape it up against the coin a little bit more. All right, on the feet, you could sort of make sure that the feet are penetrating in. And we can also kind of, on this cushion, come in here and use sculpt and grab that stamp that we used so much earlier and start to add some wrinkles to that. Now the cushion, we never did subdivide it, and so we can select the cushions themselves, sort of add a few subdivisions there. And let me actually undo that. Let's go back down to our base. And I want to, under add new subdivision level options, I want to go ahead and smooth the UVs. So we'll go ahead and do that. And on this one, we'll do the same thing. And then we can kind of begin to sculpt this. Again, using that sculpt. Start to come in and add some wrinkles. Is kind of the same thing we did with the button there. You can see it's pretty low res, so you may want to subdivide that a few times. But you know, where he's standing, you can start to bring in a few more wrinkles if you want to. And you can be pretty subtle with that over here on this one. And kind of bring that in. Start to come in, and I would just add some from the corners there. Again, kind of where he's standing, maybe adds a little bit more. And you could come in and kind of move him down into it if you wanted to kind of create a little bit more of an impression in there, so that he's putting a little bit more weight onto it. And then come in on the cushion and move that down so that it looks like it's bearing just a little bit of that weight. Okay, so after you add your pose, you can come in and adjust the pose. We also want to get kind of a good camera angle on this, and so what we can do is kind of frame up our view on this, and we can add a camera bookmark. And so once we've got a good view set up, we can go to camera bookmarks and we can add a bookmark. We'll just call this view 1. And so anytime we move around, we can go ahead and click back on that view 1 and get it back. We can also, you know, if we want a slightly different angle, we can create another one, call this view 2, and then we can sort of toggle back and forth between those. All right, so we can now come in for our image and take the lighting. We can adjust the lighting, so come up here to our image-based light, maybe increase that a little bit. Take our directional light, maybe we want a little bit more light coming in that direction. We can also, with our viewport filters, turn on depth of field, and let's change our focus distance until our little guy is in focus. And then you can see sort of the back of the cushion is out of focus, which gives it a little bit more of a macro kind of a field. We can change the depth of field as far as what all is in focus. Change the blur amount as well. All right. So that's kind of a good stopping point as far as the scene that we're working on. Now normally in Mudbox you're probably not going to be creating a complete scene just to look at in Mudbox. You would be creating production models to export out to your pipeline, other applications to be able to use characters in a T-pose. You could be doing concept work where you're working up an idea for people to look at, but the viewport filter options make it great, a great way to kind of get a really nice image in here. One other thing that I want to make sure to talk about is the extraction of maps. So that's something that's very important in Mudbox, and so we'll talk about that in the next lesson.